by the way, this particular special stage is really annoying. Fortunately, it's the last one. Like, it took me a lot of tries to beat it, because not only do you have to find where all of the keys are in a arena that's way too big for its own good, design-wise, but you also have to find them under a strict time limit. Though fortunately, finding a key like gives you a minute more of time. Like even the last key. So that's good. And also, like that obviously also applies to reaching the gateways in the previous special stages. You get more time. It's annoying having the after image be in the special stages even when you're just walking normally. Like that feels like condescending. Like you're not really going fast, but you totally are. And it's not like you have a wavy, crazy looking special stage background. So it's a crazy chaos energy filled place, and that's why Sonic has a weird afterimage all the time. Although if you had that crazy psychedelic background, then it would get complaints of like seizures, epileptic, like stuff like the way that it was complained about in the Sonic CD special stage. Anyways, so for some reason, Antoine, in the hopes of winning Bunny back, will let himself be possessed by a corrupted source. I guess the source would lie to him that this was how he would win Bunny back, but I thought Bunny broke up with him because he became the man that she didn't want him to be, which would mean like she broke up with him because he was Patch. So, huh? Like he was supposed to be he became a villain after she broke up with him, huh? Like this could have been explored in alternate universe. Like every unused concept could have been seen in alternate zone at the very least. Also, like it is pretty creative that they not only have a super form in Sonic 1, but they have a differently colored one. Like, it's pink, which isn't very manly of Sonic. It would have been better to be red, or orange, especially, but whatever. At least this is a boss that looks like you can attack it more often. But, yeah, you still have limited opportunities to attack because he's sending so many fireballs at you. Or, like, energy balls. Yeah, like, Bunny's breakup with Antoine will later lead to Bunny's origins being explored, which we never got to see under Flynn, and her true name being revealed as Scarlet O'Hare, which may have served as the inspiration for Scarlet Rabot and Bunny's codename when she was living in the Metropolis Egg Army. Scarlet Rabot? Like, was that the name of the Bunny in the Jenny Ka universe? I forget. But yeah, I don't think they needed to have her have a true name, although it would have made a lot more sense for Bunny to be a fake name, because come on, who would name their kid Bunny in a universe with bunny emotions? That would be like naming someone human. It's such a lazy, uncreative name, so it would make more sense for her to have a better name be her true name. But yeah, like, so like, Scarlet would be her code name when she was in the Metropolis Egg Army. Like, that would have been, is that what would have been her code name if she became a Dark Legionnaire? Like Flint's original idea was? Like, why would she have been in the army in the first place? Brainwashing? Also, there's an unused concept where Locke and Lara Lee would have set aside the previous disputes to help raise kneecaps after his father, Win, ends up in the egg grave chamber. Huh. Well, like, it would have been, like, too bad for Win. Like he's a good character. Like, it was charming seeing him, like, know a little bit of French, and, like, so he's culture in that respect. Like, I don't know, like, he was a nice character. Like, he was pretty nice to Knuckles, even though Knuckles wasn't really his son. But, like, I guess it would have... Yeah, like, I like how Locke and Lara are divorced, because that means that, like, we get to have a divorced couple in Sonic franchise for once, and, like, that's a very unique concept for Sonic. But, Like, if Wynn died, it would make sense, and it would be pretty heartwarming of Locke to help raise someone that isn't actually his son. Like, just because it's the right thing to do. Like we could have seen that in an alternate universe. Like, if they didn't want to go with that. Also, this boss sucks. Because it's a boss where you have to wait for your opportunity to attack. So, it would be... Well, I'm making it more boring because I'm invincible, and so I don't have to try at all. But it was... Still, you shouldn't have to wait for your opportunity to attack. So it just means that it's turning Sonic into waiting. Though you don't have to just wait if you're dodging the attacks. But I still feel like I'm wasting my time when all I'm doing is dodging attacks and not actually progressing the boss fight. I mean, you don't technically have to dodge the attacks if you can just get hit and then collect your rings again, so... And do I really have to fight Metal Sonic multiple times? I mean, that just feels like padding. Like, meanwhile, Knuckles would depart Angel Island after learning that his presence exposes the location of the Master Emerald. Would it? I mean, wouldn't people just assume that the Master Emerald was always there anyways? Like, is it just a magical thing? And he would go on a global pilgrimage to learn martial arts, and battling Monkey Khan while under the control of the Iron Queen before discovering the Master Geode, a powerful gemstone capable of restoring one's life. That sounds interesting. So Mammoth Mogul, beginning to age rapidly due to his original Chaos Emerald running out of energy, that doesn't make any sense. Aren't Chaos Emeralds supposed to have an infinite source of energy, and that's the explanation for why only one Chaos Emerald kept Angel Island afloat? And like, even if it's not technically infinite, it would still have a huge amount of magical power that it would generate. But I guess that was supposed to be the explanation for why Mammoth Mogul looks so old and aged by the time we see him with Silver. Also, this is terrible level design decision. Like, you have to do nothing, and that's the only way that you can collect rings for this boss fight. It basically punishes you for using skill by touching the control pad. And you're basically guaranteed to lose those rings anyways. What I tried to do was attack the boss, but instead, for absolutely no reason, you have to rely on the flame hitting the boss. Now, this would be more intuitive if the Eggmobile was at least a different color, but instead, he looks just like he always does. So it's absolute bullshit that you can't just attack him, like, yourself. Like, it would have... If you could attack him yourself, but the fireball could also damage him, then it would have come off as, oh, that's a nice touch. They thought to have the fireball attack him too. But instead, it just feels like it's RNG. I don't know if I'm manipulating Eggman's movements, or if I'm manipulating the movements of the fireball thing by jumping. I really don't know. So it just seems like it's RNG where it just lasts for long enough and the boss dies. Like, it's a more creative looking version of the boss that kills itself in Sonic 2. But it is creative, but there should have been more rings in the boss arena. But yeah, because Mammoth Mogul is aging rapidly, he forces himself to seek out an alternate source through illicit archaeological expeditions and hiring mercenaries like Fang. The Master Geode would be contested by him, the Iron Queen, Eggman, and Rouge the Bat. So see, Flynn didn't have to show up for the Iron Queen to be used again. I wonder if she... No, I'm sure Chase Yardley would have still been hired even if Flynn hadn't showed up. The Master Geode, like, I really wish it wasn't called Master Geode because that makes it sound lazy. But, like, the Geode part, that sounds really creative, because, like, the only ever time I've heard, like, Geode referenced in a media is, like, the geodes that you get in Sword of Mana. But yeah, like, that would have sounded interesting, but, so was the Geode supposed to be just as powerful as Master Emerald or something like that? Because if so, it would make sense for Mammoth Mogul to go after that instead of a Chaos Emerald. But it just seems weird for there to be... It's not a Super Emerald, but it's more powerful than the Chaos Emerald. While the beginning of this song sucks, it actually leads into a kind of cool song because it's a remix of the Best Crisis City theme from Sonic Generations. It just kind of sucks that it has to use the Genesis electric guitar, which kind of sounds grating to the ears. I got hit by bullshit placed spikes that I couldn't really see coming, and I guess sometimes you can't see them, but your eyes don't immediately focus on them. But I was kind of happy that I did get hit because I didn't want to activate the super form and lose the music. I wanted to hear the entire song play at least once. But yeah, I'm not sure I really know about this theme. I mean, they don't even try to have a special remix of Spring Air Zone. It's literally just like Crisis City's theme. And it doesn't really feel like a fire level, it just has a different aesthetic that makes it look hot. Like so, cause there's no lava here. So, like I think the only level with lava in it is still Marble Zone, so having it based around flames is kind of just an aesthetic thing. Like this is obviously an extremely terrible boss fight, because again, it's another wait for your opportunity to attack boss. I was walking right through it, doing no damage to it at all, as Super Sonic. Like, you would expect that this is a boss that, when it walks onto the screen, that's your opportunity to attack because you can roll into it or spin dash it. Common sense would dictate that, because you can roll into or spin dash the smaller version of that boss. But instead, you can't attack it at all there. And the only way you can attack it is when it randomly decides to fall from the ceiling and land on its back, so that you can jump into it from above, which never happens to the Badnik it's based on. Also, like, I was gonna say that before my super form ran out, I took a while to figure out that I was supposed to go to the right the way I did, because I didn't know that it was an intangible wall that I was forced to go through to progress, so that was bad. What's also bad is that, well, it is intuitive once you realize what's going on. The spike ball that falls from the ceiling always falls where you are. But it still falls so fast that if you don't learn to recognize that that's what's happening, it's guaranteed to fall into, because Sonic starts moving so slowly from a standstill. Also, the invincibility frames last a ridiculous amount of time on the bosses. Like, I noticed that with the giant caterpillar boss when I was Super Sonic and I was standing on it and wasn't getting dealt as much damage as I was expected. And the invincibility frames are annoying for this boss too, because you expect to be able to get multiple hits in when it's flipped over. And like, that would have been a good way to reward skill. But yeah, like, with the things constantly like hitting you out of nowhere, you not being able to react much in time, it pretty much guarantees that this is going to be a boss that you're going to run out of rings at, and then end up constantly save stating to get past, and that's always a black mark on a game for me. I think that the level 1, I would think that the Sonic 1 level select code would work for this ROM hack too, because that's generally the case for Sonic 1 ROM hacks. But because I don't know how you can. Maybe there's a code so that you can play through the entire game as Super Sonic, like even if you skip past all the boss fights. But like, I don't want to have to input that code in the level select every single time I want to play every level. So every time I want to replay this game, I have to play the shitty boss fights. So. Anyways, a new Dingo regime leader named Colonel Mange would have been introduced, with Croctobot. It's Crocbot? I thought it was Crocbot, not Croctobot. So I guess Crocbot and Octobot being fused together was not just an original thing concept. But yeah, Colonel Mange would have been introduced with Croctobot, Jack Rabbit, and Galna from Albion, being reintroduced as Eggman's sub-bosses over Down Under, the Great Desert, and Albion. So I guess Galna would have been basically legionized, and so that would have forced her to, rather than just being killed off screen anticlimactically, she would have been continued to be used as a character, which I would have preferred because like she was the first Albionian echidna we ever saw. So I was expecting there to be more done with her. And I guess well, no, I don't think it would have really made too much sense for Jack Rabbit to be like an Eggman sub-boss, unless, of course, he was legionized and brainwashed into it. But if he wasn't, like, I don't think it should have happened then, because he's supposed to be like a freedom fighter who hates Eggman a lot, no matter how scummy he was against Sonic, which would justify him being a villain. And like Proctobot, yeah, that would have made sense as a Down Under sub-boss. But yeah, like that sounds good. Like, this would have led to the disappearance of the Down Under Freedom Fighters. Oh. And a confrontation involving the Mercian Freedom Fighters. In the meantime, evil Sonic would come to enjoy impersonating Sonic, and enjoying the love of his parents and adulation of his people. Aww. Leading him to plan to eliminate Sonic permanently, take his place. Aww. So that would have been annoying. So, like, it comes so close to being a hero, like, don't you get it? Like, I guess he thought that if everyone found out that he was Scourge and not Sonic, then he would immediately completely lost the love that he got. And, like, maybe he was too cynical to believe that he would actually get to enjoy those things even after people learn who he is. Like, maybe he didn't have any faith that even if people knew who he was, people would forgive him if he just continued being a hero anyways. Like, he didn't have to try to eliminate Sonic. But it's like issue 150 seemed to be implying to be leading up to that anyways, because Sonic this is why it's good that he got a different design under Flynn, because even when he wasn't Scourge, I kept on calling him Sonic by accident. That would have really pissed him off if he was real. But yeah, like, even in issue 150, we clearly saw that he was enjoying, like, being complimented by the chili dog salesman and, like, being a hero, storing a swap bot. So, like, that looked like they were going to do that, but instead, that doesn't happen. Ugh, why didn't that happen? Penders had a number of plans set up, the biggest of which was that he was going to try to fix the breakup between Sonic and Sally. Ugh. The Mobius 25 Years Later story would have concluded with King Sonic being unable to fix the damage, leading Rotor to send Nicole to the past, as per Sonic in Your Face. Unfortunately, the page doesn't explain 1, why King Sonic was unable to fix the damage, 2, why Laris even disappeared in the first place, since she wasn't made so that she never existed, and 3, the page doesn't explain, why was Nicole, it's not explained that Nicole wasn't there at all in the entire 25 Years Later story arc. Because we never saw Bunny in that story arc either, or Antoine, but that didn't mean that they didn't exist. So was it that there was no indication that Rotor, in addition to being with Cobra all the time, was also working on rebuilding Nicole the whole time? And what would Nicole have done to fix the damage that was supposedly caused by Sonic's zone hopping? That doesn't really make any sense. Another romantic plot point would have been between Antoine and Bunny, as Antoine would ask Bunny to marry him, but wouldn't get an answer until issue 175. So Flynn didn't need to show up for that concept to be introduced. Their marriage would have happened around issue 200. So Flynn handled it better because he had them get married literally the issue after Antoine proposed, which was much better for streamlining it, making it, because it also makes logical sense. Of course, Antoine would have proposed to her in the first place so early in life because he wanted to make sure that he would get to marry her before he died. And so logically, the same would apply to them getting married as soon as possible. Come on, this is absolutely terrible level design. Also, Sonic will be shaken up by a number of status quo changes, including the death of Snively and becoming a gentleman-at-arms for Sally, which makes things awkward for them. Gentleman-at-arms? What does that mean? Does that mean bodyguard for her? Well, wasn't he always a bodyguard for her? Also, the death of Snively, like, considering that Flynn ended up having it so that Snively would be trapped in an animal capsule for the rest of the comic, that isn't much different from him dying, really. So it's not like, if that's horrible, then so is Snively being imprisoned. Not to mention being replaced by a doppelganger. So yeah, that was pretty interesting. There were some that I just flat out didn't get, but like even the ones that were bad could have been used showing an alternate zone where it happened, where it made sense.